Well, this is a video of the Harbor Freight 2000 watt Predator generator. This is a pure sine wave inverter generator, and right now it's September 2017, nearing the end of September. And I wanted to start by just kind of showing the box and then an unboxing here shortly thereafter. But they call this a 2000 watt inverter generator, but that 2000 watt is the peak, so the running watts is 1600. That's very similar to the Honda 2000 generator, and clearly this is a Harbor Freight clone or a competitor to that. So on coupon, I was able to get this for $399 today. Normally it runs $499. It's on coupon all the time. But I hadn't seen a lot of videos on YouTube about this, and so I wanted to make sure that I put out a little information on it for people who are considering it. Again, it's really a budget option compared to the Honda that can run, $1,000. You can see that it has a 66 dB, quiet operation. It's less than 50 pounds, and it reports to run 6.5 hours at half load. So at 800 watts, 6.5 hours. Okay, just another look at the other side of the packaging here. So they have some different wattage estimates for different appliances on the back, which is interesting. And then the kind of base features, not a lot of bells and whistles here. Has an engine on-off switch, a low oil indicator, an energy saving throttle mode. This can be chained with one other, so a total of 2 of these generators. And that I saw in the store, the kit was $50 to hook these together. Okay, and it has a couple of AC ports and a 12-volt battery charging port. So we'll look more at that in a minute. I'll go ahead and open it up and show you what's in the box. Okay, we've unboxed the Harbor Freight Predator 2000 inverter generator here. So all the contents of the box are laid out here. So you got the generator itself. There's a manual on some kind of nice glossy paper. Actually might survive some rain. And then it has a DC cable that will connect up with those alligator clamps to your battery, so you can charge your battery. And then it came with this little pouch, this navy pouch here, that had a Phillips screwdriver, wrench, and then also this tool here for changing your spark plug. I was kind of surprised to see that little pouch in there. That's a little above and beyond for a Harbor Freight product. Now the main event. Here's the generator itself. As far as fit and finish goes, not bad, but I don't know if it'll show up. Just some weird discoloration here. Kind of looks just aged or whatever. But not a big deal. Plenty of stickers to tell you what you're doing. Not just about safety, but I like this one up here. Hopefully this translates well. So you can see the various steps in starting the generator. Kind of nice. Looks like the sticker will last a while. So it tells you the process of starting it. Open the vent cap on the gas. Turn off the economy switch. Put the dial on start. Pull the start handle. And really just wait for it to say output before you start using your devices. And then of course slowly turn the switch back to run before you actually start drawing any electricity. And then more warnings. Gas only, 10% ethanol is okay, but no more. And then this is an interesting note. They don't want you to exceed 13 amps. So that's the max. They're very clear about that. Okay, and then to complete this, so on the, we'll call it the primary side or the left, you have the pull start handle right there. And then let's call this the front. You got the gas cap here, and it has one of these vents, so you turn it. We'll play with that later, but it has a off and on switch. Let me see if I can zoom that for you. It's in the off position, and there's an on, so that you can let it vent. And then on the front, we can see, pardon the train going by there, again, 1600 running watts, 2000 peak. You've got your switch here, so you start it out in the start position, pull start it, and then when your light comes on indicating that output is possible, you slowly move it to the run position, so from start to run. Currently it's off. We got our DC out, so you can charge your battery. 2 AC ports here. And then we talked before about that you can parallel 2 of these devices together. That's here, and the economy switch. And there's a ground, which is good to use. I'm not sure if everyone uses it, but it's not a bad idea. Okay, so we called that the front. We looked at the pull start on the other side. Nothing really there. So boy, do they give you a real stern warning here about warranty. Check the oil every 8 hours. Check the air filter. Use stabilizer. Be sure to start this up every 3 months, or else voids warranty. Not super friendly, but they're very clear on what they want you to do. Okay, let's look at the top some more. We talked about the gas cap here. The other one here is a fuel indicator, which I thought was kind of neat. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that. Let me try and focus it in. There, I hope you're seeing that. I haven't seen many of these that actually have a fuel indicator, so you can see this one shows empty. It's never been used. But kind of nice to be able to tell how much fuel's left. This little plug here is a different texture. It's like a rubber plug. And this is where you can reach in and take the spark plug in and out through the top. Okay, we talked about that side. Let me spin this around and show you the back. Okay, we'll call this the back of it. This is the exhaust end of the generator. Has some information. Let me zoom in for you there. Little information about, I think that's emissions. Yeah, some emissions info. There's your exhaust. There's 6 screws holding that panel in. So that's it for the tour around the generator. We'll be back in a second. Okay, now that we have unboxed the generator and taken a look at the major features of it, the next big thing is to fire it up. So, let's start by looking at the manual just to give you an idea. Got this manual. It's not too big. Let's see. It's got about 20, maybe 25 pages at the most. It's broken into these sections: safety, setup, operation, maintenance. So I'm going to head into the setup section. And this basically tells you what you need to do to get set up. It talks about grounding. So if you were to buy one of these, this is kind of what you're going through. They have the pre-start checklist, which is basically printed on the top of the generator. And then it talks about, of course, you need to check the oil. But notice here, it says, use the proper amount of 10W30 oil. So if I go back, skip back to the back of the cover, here's the specification. See what kind of oil it tells you to use here? 10W40. I mean, most people know they're pretty interchangeable based on your environment, but it's a bit odd to have a discrepancy in the manual. While we're here, a couple notables. Again, they're urging you to use stabilizer, which I recommend. Some things you might want to know. It's a 1-gallon tank for gas. and the engine oil is 13 fluid ounces. So that's kind of important to know when you're buying oil. And this says the runtime at 50% load is 6 hours. The interesting thing is the box has a discrepancy on that. So 50% load, 6 hours with full tank. Now the box says runtime 6.5 hours at 50% capacity. So, I mean, it's not that far off, but just being honest here, there's a bit of a discrepancy. What really matters is how does this thing work and how does it last. So what I want to do is show you how to get it started for the first time. So I've got some oil here. I'm going to go with the 10W30 and some stabilized gas. All right, I'll come back when I have it open. Okay, opening the side was quite easy. There's 3 screws to remove. They are not captive screws, so you need to keep track of those on the table there. You remove the 3 screws with the supplied screwdriver, pull up on the side, up towards the sky in this case, and it comes right loose. And you see there's where you put the oil there. Look, it's kind of an orangish yellow color. All right, I'll come back when we've got some oil in there. Okay, showing you pouring the oil is not going to be the easiest thing to film, but I am here with the funnel and filling that up. Made a little bit of a mess on the way, but we'll get that cleaned up. Okay, well, I have added the oil required, which is, they say 13 ounces. It looks like I overfilled a little bit, so I had to back it out a little. And I've gassed up, I'm guessing like maybe 0.3 gallons, maybe a third of a gallon, which is all I happen to have. And to be honest, I couldn't hold the camera when starting it, so I have already started it once and ran it for about 3 minutes. Sorry I couldn't share that with you directly, but I'll tell you it took exactly 5 pulls. Now, one thing I learned about this is the handle here is not smooth. So let me start here. Pull, resistance, and the more resistance, more, and then that's it. So it's not the smoothest pull, and maybe that's normal, I don't know. But it was a little awkward to me. Maybe there's some pros out there that would say no big deal. Okay, what I'm going to do now is start it. I'm going to have to set the camera down to do that, but I will tell you how many pulls it took to start it. Okay, well, it should be no surprise that it started in 1 pull. Keep in mind that I had ran it about 10 minutes prior. So the very first time this thing ever operated, it took 5 pulls to get it started. 5 pulls the first time out. So there it is. It's not in eco mode, but nothing is attached right now. I'm standing about 5 feet away from it. Let me get a little closer here and I'll put it in eco mode. Well, that made quite a difference. We're in eco mode here now. I'm going to let it run a minute, and a personal experiment for me is to see if this thing will power a small shop vac. When I measured the shop vac with a device, kind of like a kilowatt monitor, it told me that the device was running a continuous 1250 watts. So I'm going to try that. So I'll be back in a minute and I'll show you what happens. Okay, I'm back with you. We got the Predator 2000 Harbor Freight generator here running. It's in eco mode. I'm about 3 feet away from it. And I've got a vacuum cleaner hooked up. I wanted to show you though, this is a really small shop vac. It's tiny, but it's 7.4 amps at 120 volts. So it's supposed to be something like 880, that's my quick math, excuse it, 880 watts. But when I tested this inside, it's actually consuming more like 1250. So my other generator that's 1,000 watts couldn't operate this. So I thought I'd try and see if the Predator can. I expect it should. It's supposed to be able to run a peak at 2,000 and sustained at 1,600. Let's give it a shot. First, I'm going to take it off of eco. So it revved up there quite a bit. Now I'm sorry, but when I turn this vacuum on, it's going to be loud. But what I'm looking for is to make sure that I don't get the overload light come on down below. So here we go. Okay, well, I cut that noise off. Hopefully it wasn't too loud for you. But the test passed. Probably ran for about 20-30 seconds with the vacuum cleaner on. I tried to give it a little obstruction to the suction force to get the engine to draw max power, and I think I did that. And no problems at all. I did switch it back on eco mode before I started the camera up again. Okay, I'm going to cut it off here. Thanks a lot for watching. Again, just a quick day one, actually with less than 1 hour with the Harbor Freight Predator 2000 inverter generator. Thank you.